Alright, hello everyone, my name is Fischer, and I was the Flex DPS player for Team Denmark in the Overwatch World Cup in 2017 and 2018. And today I'm doing something I haven't really tried before. I'm going to try to give some insight and analysis to uh, some of our matches during the qualifier. Um, in this video I'll probably just do China because I want to see if I can even do it, if I'm even good at this. So quickly before I get into the matches, I just want to talk about our team a little bit. I feel it's important. So when you get into these mixed teams, which most World Cup teams are, it's really important that you identify um, common ground on understanding the game, what works well in the current meta, and how you want to play that. So uh, in our case, Shax and I were both competing in NA contenders at the time. Calyx in Overwatch League with Boston Uprising, and the rest of our team in EU contenders. So already there's a lot of diversity. People have different opinions. People understand the game in a different way. Um, but it's very important when you get into these mixed teams that you find common ground with your allies, basically, because you only have a set amount of time to practice, and it's not that long. Maybe sometimes it's a month, sometimes it's 2 weeks. People do it differently. Um, so what we so the conclusion we came to was that um, we like having a diverse style where we can play a lot of different things. We're not going to be afraid of swapping or anything. Um, both Shax and I agreed that we both have big hero pools, and while he fits the hit scan spectrum of all heroes, I kind of fit the projectile spectrum of all heroes, and then anything in between, we kind of agreed that either of us could play it in the specific scenario that we're in. So it didn't really matter to us. Um, we have two tank players that favor more dive heavy setups, so a lot of Winston Diva, which is fine. And we basically tried to incorporate that in our philosophy of like playing the game. And when we did that, we came up with three, maybe four compositions that work really well for us as a team. People can be on their comfort heroes, and they understand what their jobs are in said compositions. So we figured out that we were pretty good at Sombra Tracer, we were pretty good at Break McCree, we were really good at Sombra Doomfist, and our our goats counter was really really successful in this team. Um, so like I said, our style is a little more diverse than maybe some other teams. A team like France, for example, had a more one-dimensional style of trying to get really good at one comp. So they practice that on basically every map and everywhere they can. They try to practice one comp and get really good at that comp. But we agreed that we didn't really want to do that. It didn't fit us. We were a more diverse team where we had two very flexible DPS players, so we could basically play anything at any time and we wouldn't be afraid to swap. Um, so yeah, that's a little backstory on the team and our philosophy. So let's get into the games.
I think this is going to be a really telling start to the series. Whichever team
Hopefully
takes momentum here, it's going
the
to make a
sound isn't
really
too
big
loud or
difference
too low.
as we
I
go on
didn't
to this
actually
next
test this.
match.
Maybe I
We really
should.
want to get that first win,
Okay,
especially with the
so
possibility of a map 5.
Lee Jang
Can
Tower
the
against
first result
China.
give you the confidence if
Um,
it does go to that
we're
final
gonna
game
open
so
up on Sombra
tiebreak?
Tracer. It was our comfort comp on this map. Um, when we saw the enemy played goats, for example, we would basically run back to spawn and give them point if necessary, because we were really confident in our goats counter. But we start on Sombra Tracer. We're expecting a more dive heavy setup from China from scouting them. Um,
Coming out on the Hammond, going to commit to this triple tank dive setup, so it's up to China to take the aggression into Team Denmark.
Though Ding gets picked off, they come up with a really aggressive composition. We fail to realize how to counter it right away. So from the first fight already, we we failed to realize that that they were playing Hammond here. We were expecting them to play a dive heavy setup with Winston Diva, but we didn't expect a Hammond. We were expecting maybe a Sombra Tracer, maybe a Mirror, maybe a Pharah, maybe a Genji. But we didn't expect this triple tank composition with the Hammond. And because we didn't expect it, we also failed to realize how to play against it in the moment. Um, we kind of, I think we tunneled a lot on trying to hack the Diva here, when in reality we could have peeled for Ding. They have one goal, and that's to dive Ding as a 4-man, 5-man squad. If we had realized that Hammond, we could have probably sent me back, play more passive, try to get a hack on the Hammond here, because we know they only have one goal, and that's to go for Ding. But we failed to realize that, and that's why we lose the first fight here. We do, however, realize that our comp is probably better than theirs right now, so there's no reason to do any swaps right now. We have a Sombra against the Hammond, we have a Sombra against a Tracer. If we could have swapped anything, we probably could have swapped Shax over to a Brig or something. Maybe even Doomfist. Like, just anything that's like either good at dealing with the tanks or with the Tracer.
And of course, that massive health fall is so difficult to deal with when you're in these low number scenarios, and knocking the Ana off the map right as she comes back from spawn. That's a huge pick for Team China. They're going to get the flip in quite a bit of progress before Denmark has a chance to regroup.
Shy right now going to build up the pulse bomb after the first fight. Pretty standard stuff coming in from a Tracer, but means he can set the pace going in.
Fischer also a little bit slow on that EM.
So our thought process going into the next fight is we're probably going to take white side because it's better for us. It isn't super easy to like get a flank off like right here for the Tracer. Like, you can't just blink over here, and it's not just like one simple choke where it feels like we have to get over here, because if we don't, we're going to be stuck here, and that's really bad for us. So in this fight, we're probably going to take white. We're probably going to try and do what I suggested we should a few moments ago, where I said that we should play it a bit more patient. We should wait for them to engage and then try to get a hack off anything that's near us. So Hammond is probably going to engage first, maybe even Winston, and we're going to try to get a hack on them and then take the fight back from there.
50% and Veltal is almost at that Lucio sound barrier here, so that could be really important in this next fight. Leave with the mines, especially with Denmark taking this chokier approach to point through White Room, could be punished by the minefield.
Shy moving in, pulse bomb, looks for the stick, not quite going to connect, but on the other end, Denmark now taking advantage off the pulse bomb, going back the other way. EMP up Fischer, might not even have to use it with the 3 pickups here. Denmark just hiding in the corner, able to bring it back the other way. How does that work out for Denmark? No, China's still going in. The remainder, they sound barely 3 people, they block the delay.
This can be so effective, especially on this stage of Lijiang Tower. The route back to point from spawn through that window is so quick. So you're able to get massive stalls, even in fights that just seem completely unwinnable. Taking down the bubble is Shax, but still, it's so hard to clean up these tanks on point. The Lucio also coming in for a little bit of delay of his own. Potentially, though, things slowing down for Team China.
So at this point, the fight is basically won, right? We expected them to do what they did. They jumped in really aggressively. We peeled it off with hacks, and we used our beat as well in the beginning of the fight, and we got 2 picks off of it. After that, it's basically just cleanup, but because their comp is like super stall heavy with Hammond Tracer, Lucio Diva Monkey, it's really hard to close out the fight here. And we should have probably realized that sooner and probably popped more ults here, because it's already at 60%, and we would like to win this fight like right now. We would like to cap this point at basically this point, even earlier if we could have. But China does a really good job of stalling, and I'm pretty sure they end up getting like 90 to 99% or something. We probably could have done a better job of like target calling and focusing here as well.
And it's just delay coming in here for China over and over again. They know that this is a winnable fight, but they want to get as much progress as possible here in the moment. And Denmark is struggling to clear them out. We got reinforcements coming back into China. Yeah. Okay.
Also, sorry if you hear me drinking water. I'm a little sick right now. I've got some throat issues, so I'm trying to get better. Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of players dropping on the side of Team China, but you can see how effective the strategy has been for them. Even without any real chance of taking this fight, they're still going to get 99% capture, and that's such a huge advantage going into the later parts of this round.
On the point. Denmark finally getting it.
Yeah, so they get it to 92, which is super delay from China. We probably could have played it better, but at least now we have a decent ult advantage. Should have at least. Doesn't even look like we do.
Building up their ultimates, while on the other side, Denmark's had to use those just to clear them off the point. So China, with a major tempo lead, could be looking to take this first round round in sweeping style.
Fischer holding on to the EMP, gonna need to be a big one because Denmark needs multiple fights in a row. Has to get out early. That means EMP is good for the rest of the team. Denmark, vulnerable, China dives in, but Lee under fire, can't get away. Runs right in the Fischer, but Shy strikes again. The pulse bomb taking down Lucio, the other score down from Kushui, and that is...
So we play this fight pretty poorly, but we know we have point control, and we know they have to make the aggressive move. They probably have ult advantage. So we want to try to bait them to use ults before we do anything, because we have point control, and we want to try to force them to use it without having to give up point control. But in reality, we actually just let them do what they wanted, and they just used our monkey ult to disrupt our whole backline. So our plan kind of went down the drain. We did have EMP, so we probably could have played a little bit more proactive.
It's one giant fight that just doesn't end, but Kushui in control. Late Young holding on to self-destructive take. He can just throw this right over the bridge if they get control.
Certainly, but I think China is going to be all on the point here. And with that minefield, Denmark just can't do that same kind of stall. Now China going deep into the spawn. They want to capitalizing on their advantage and take the fight off a point. Denmark's going to be forced to separate just to keep that overtime going. And China is capitalizing with the number advantage in Denmark's spawn.
They're so close to getting the recap.
So we actually get 2 picks, and it's pretty close to like getting back into this fight. But they did flip back the point, so even if we did win the fight, it's not a guarantee that we even win here. And now we're just desperately attempting to keep the point alive, trying to get it back into the fight somehow, even though it's like almost impossible. So generally in Koth, the first fight is super important. If you lose it and the enemies play a super stall heavy comp like China did, it's going to be really hard to cap the point at a respectable rate for your own team.
Can you break down a little bit China's stall, where you don't see teams do that as often, but they made that work?
This is actually an old strategy.
But we felt like we played the better composition. I still believe we did. We just didn't play it as well as we could have. Now we're getting into control center, and we're pretty happy with that. I think in practice and even in the qualifier, we had a 100% win rate on control center. And it's because we have a really good understanding of how to play the Mei with this comp. So China actually does something really smart here. They probably scouted that we would play Mei, so instead of just going main or white, they decide to go high ground and wait until the point unlocks. They're basically denying us getting a wall and just winning the fight off of that. So super smart by China. So I'm not actually sure what Kelix are doing there. We can probably roll it back a little bit. Okay, he's waiting for point to unlock and try to cap it because he doesn't see them. He probably thinks that he can get out here. He probably knows they're up top. He probably thinks he can get away anyway. But it turns out they amp their speed immediately, and then they catch him out here. I try to get a wall off on the Rhine, but we already lost Kelix, so now we're really desperate to try to find a counter pick so we can turn the fight around. But China caps the point, and now we should probably just look to reset. Yeah, Nerf gets knocked to the side, Ding gets caught too, and now everyone's gonna get caught. Now, even though we lost this fight, we are really close to a Doom ult, and we almost have Mei ult. And Danny's relatively close to a grab. So even though we lost this fight, we're not necessarily like unhappy with the result that we got, because we have a lot of good ults, and we should be able to retake, knowing that they're playing full goats, we're playing a Mei Doom. So we're not necessarily unhappy with the situation right now.
on charge, only at 70%, although Leave with very little charge of his own, not finding the damage he needs in that fight. So it's going to be up to the combos from Team Denmark. At the same time, though, Late Young could always shut those down.
So we get a decent wall and a really good freeze. Get 3 picks. Now it's just clean up.
Yeah, huge blizzard there from Fischer, perfectly placed. Everyone from Team China caught in that, they just can't retreat out of it. And now capitalizing for more is Team Denmark. Shax, though,
Shax probably over aggressive here, but it's okay because we get a new wall and pick up the Zarya. So obviously we're super happy with that fight. We only used Mailed and the Nano to turn away a point that's regularly really hard to turn around. And we also got Nano out of them. So really good fight. Shax probably shouldn't have gotten picked off here, but it happens. We have Mei, so we can freely back up, look to stall with walls or whatever until Shax is back here. And Shax is already back, so not too big of a deal, not the end of the world. They go for a stun shatter. We know they have shatter, so we're gonna look to counterplay it either with bubbles or with wall. I end up getting hit by the shatter somehow, I'm not sure. Meanwhile these guys don't, but we get the wall off so there isn't any follow-up damage. So basically the wall mitigates the whole shatter.
Denmark with a man advantage on the point, and that's the main healer for Team China down. It's time for Shax to clean up. Denmark committing the grab time, going to weave through absolutely everyone here from Team.
I'm not sure if I necessarily agree with this grab we did here. We ended up forcing China to beat first, which is really good, because then we can stall the fight out. We have Mei Doom, we can simply just stall, wait out the beat, and then counter beat. And then at this point, I think we already had a pick or something. And since we did have a pick, we should be able to clean up the fight at this point. So, not sure the grab was necessary, but either way, it was an easy way to clean up the fight.
Team China on the point, and the capture is just building. Fischer with another blizzard.
Plus, we got the shatter out for them, they rallied early, and used beat.
Ready to shut them down in the choke. This is where the Mei can really shine. This very, very tight choke. There's no way to get the point without crossing one of two extremely.
And once you have control with this comp, and no one gets picked off, and you're actually 6 people holding like either choke here, it's almost impossible to retake for this comp. So now we're in a super comfortable situation. We have a Mailed, we almost have shatter, and this, and most importantly, we have map control.
And that's where Mei is most effective. They scout the movement to high ground, gonna meet them here.
And you see them right now, they're totally fine to just delay time. Fischer, doing one thing, they all make the split. Here comes the cold. Was that needed? I think that might have, no, it wasn't needed. The blizzard out, still gonna be freezing out China. It was close, but not quite enough. And they with the blizzard.
So they go top side. I misplayed the wall. Really bad actually. We can go back and look at it. But we know they're here. This wall can be super devastating if they're not going together. I basically fuck up the wall here. But I recognize they used the Diva Bomb, which means there's no Matrix anymore. They're all stacked here still. Like, the Zarya is here, Ryan is here, and the backline is still in that little back room. So the Diva throws a bomb, I know there's no Matrix, I'm gonna immediately throw my Mailed. So we get the pick off on Shy, we get Gutsue, and now it's just clean up once again. Danny somehow dies, I'm not sure what happened. But get another wall, now it's just clean up. And once again, we're winning the fight in a really well done old economy manner. We only used the Mailed here to win this fight. And we get a super good Mei wall again and stagger these people off at 80%, which is also really good. Now, we have 2 choices here. We could theoretically just literally speed into their spawn right now and look for a wall for anyone going out of spawn at 85% because they have to touch points somehow. And China does something that's pretty smart. They swap the Fair Mercy. Once we realize that, we have a couple more options, and I'm gonna try to go into that once we see it happen. So they swap Fair Mercy. They're gonna go out right side and try to touch the point. So the call I make here is that we're gonna use a preemptive Mei wall here, like right here, simply just block off this whole thing. So the only people that will be on point for a set amount of time until the Mei wall drops and they get there is the Fair Mercy. So the call we make is to preemptively Mei wall at like 94, 95%. Everyone run back to point and just kill Fair Mercy. Even with the comp we have. Like, we have a Doom and a Mei, it's really hard to maybe kill them, but that's the call that we're making right here. We're banking on the fact that we can kill Fair Mercy in time to have a plus advantage, basically, like a man advantage in the fight when this squad gets there. So we put down the Mei wall preemptively, we all fall back to point. Ding hits a insane sleep on the Pharah, which helps a lot, and Nerf hits a giant shatter, which also helps. And a really good block from Nerf. So all around, we've always been pretty happy with our control center. We know exactly how to play this comp and play this to its strengths.
Once Denmark takes the point for the first time, able to threaten that Team China spawn choke, it doesn't feel like China's able to get a single good engagement from that point on.
Jake is basically summing it up.
Devastating against the triple tank setup that China was bringing.
We have a great understanding of how to play the comp, and once we get control, which eventually we will, because we have good combos with Mei Zarya and Zarya Doom, and even like Shatter. We can set up shatters with Doom, so we have a lot of good combos. Eventually we're going to take that point. Once we have point control, it's really easy. So Night Market, we go back to our comfort combo of Somber Chaser. We're probably expecting China to run something similar, at least dive tanks and maybe Somber Tracer, maybe Tracer Pharah, maybe Tracer Genji, something like that.
Isolated by the way of Maywall. Now though, this map gonna favor dive setups. Both teams going over to those dive setups, but China, interesting though, bringing out this Fire Mercy comp. I don't think we've seen much of this look from them.
No, but you know what? I would trust Steve to play a good far
so
here.
Our goal right now is to basically get a hack on anything, and look to push with a nade and with our tanks. So I'm gonna stealth right side. I'm gonna try to D.Va is probably the most important. If I can't get D.Va, I'll try to get Tracer or Monkey. We can't really deal with the Pharah that well. There's not that many great high grounds for me to stand on where I can get a hack off, and the skybox is really high. So already we need to realize that we can't deal with the Pharah, so we have to make a plan to basically ignore him and still be able to win.
Denmark might not have the answer right away. It's going to put more pressure on Ding, I would say.
Yeah, definitely up to Ding, and potentially Fischer getting a hack on that Fire, flipping her wings and bringing her down, but Lee's having none of that, getting very aggressive over the top of Denmark.
Denmark right now, no, what a sleep coming out there. Leave, gonna have to take a nap. We were talking about the Ana dealing with it. Leave just barely able to get away, but
Ding gets really good sleep on the Pharah. Shax and I go for the Ana eventually. The way China plays it's actually really interesting because their tanks are like always together, but they're also pushing up super dominantly. Like they don't care that I'm playing Sombra. They're just gonna play here, in the pillars and garden and try to like line of sight hacks. So it was actually really hard getting hacks off on the D.Va and the Monkey, because of the way China plays it. But the Pharah went too aggro, got punished by Ding. The tanks are too aggro as well, which means that Shax and I can punish the Ana in the backline.
Denmark is picking China apart.
Ding definitely clutching that team fight there. If he had gone down and not landed that sleep on the Pharah, that team fight would have almost certainly gone the other way. A few kills going towards Team China though. Potentially Denmark looking to, no, they're going to get the flip here for sure. Holding strong on the point, and the spawners will be back in time. So China getting a great initiation there, but the sleep just clutching it out for Denmark.
And how reliable is it for
So the fight was super scrappy, which means that no team has basically any ult advantage over the other. It's basically reflecting on the control center. It's basically the same fight. No one won super convincingly, so there isn't like a set ult advantage where we can say, oh, we definitely have like advantage over Nano or Monkey ult or anything. You can see it's 50-50 on Monkey, it's 50-50 on Ana. Late Young has more charge on Diva, but like basically it's all even here. There isn't a set old advantage.
Out of the takedown of Barf like that, it seems like it's not super likely.
Well, it's great awareness by Ding. He doesn't go for that really difficult air shot. Instead, he waits for Leaf to try and push into the choke. That's when he's most vulnerable to the sleep dart.
Leaf going in now on the air. For now, uncontested. You see Shy gets hacked. He has the post bomb. He really wants to use it. Nano, works out. Post bomb.
It's super unfortunate that Nano didn't go off on Danny in time. He lost his mech. He got Nanoed and Baby Diva. So we played it pretty poorly. We put our tanks up aggressively, which I don't think is bad. We want to try to control the space if we can. What eventually is going to happen if a challenge plays as smart is the Pharah is going to poke them out. We can't do anything about the Pharah. So eventually our tanks have to fall back. We get a hack off on the Tracer, which is super important. That's basically a free pick in most scenarios. But Sky ends up nanoing him, and he ends up living, and eventually we're gonna get picked off because we put too many resources into killing this guy and didn't. And we also end up using Nano too late.
What a clean flip from Team China. Denmark thinks they've got the Tracer hacked. They can focus her down, but what awareness from Sky. Immediately dropping that nano boost on the Tracer, keeping him alive, and Denmark even missing the nano boost on their Diva. The reaction time not there. Get the nano boost on the mech as the Baby Diva is already desuited, getting no value out of that nano boost, essentially throwing the ultimate away. So Team China in a commanding position here. The Valkyrie's going to come out. Shy setting up for a stick.
Shy going for the stick on the back, doesn't connect. China trying to pressure Denmark and just keep them off the point for now. We see Shy still working on the outskirts. Denmark straight up the gut. They open up the barrier, the EMP in reserve.
So we get a good hack on Diva. We end up committing with a beat.
More into this fight, just to get China off. We're at 3/4 of the cap right now. Here comes the barrage. Oh,
Nerf deals with the Pharah really well. Get a hack on the Monkey that has Primal. And get to kept EMP.
This is a real potential for China to slowly flip this fight back with their healers just coming back to the fight.
And Shy so good at working the outskirts. About to get another pulse bomb up. Gets on the shacks. Now looking for more.
But the stragglers come in. We end up committing EMP, which was probably pretty bad. There wasn't enough follow-up. Shax was dead. Without Shax, and because I die instantly when I pop EMP, we basically have no damage to clean up the fight. Like, initially, we played the fight super well, but we didn't close it out well at all. And now we have 0 ults.
What incredible gameplay from Team China. Fischer getting
Like,
caught out there.
the way we retake the fight is we get a hack on Diva, we commit with a beat, we get the Diva out of mech. Nerf deals with the Pharah really well. He's gonna barrage, he's gonna jump up in his face and use Primal. We now have a 2-pick advantage, and we get to keep our NP at the time, but China just puts their Diva on point, or the Monkey on point, and it's really hard to close it out. The stragglers come back, Shax end up getting picked off, we then have no damage. So initially we played it really well, it was a good plan, but we didn't close it out very well. And now we have 0 ults.
Mark coming on in right now. China trying to hold forward. You see Shy in the back just dealing damage to tanks, waiting for a distraction before going in.
In hindsight, at this point, we probably should have made a Brig McCree swap here and try to play it a little bit slower. The Pharah Mercy still is kind of scary against the Brig McCree. It's not like we can just swap to McCree and then Shax will like magically kill this guy all the time. But it does put more pressure on the Tracer, it does put more pressure on the tanks.
Psychological game from Shy. He had such a huge team fight last
It like
night.
gives us a little more room to breathe, basically.
Now they're constantly scared of him. They're terrified to move into the point because they know that this is going to happen. He's right there in the back line, crushing those supports.
Good peel from Danny and Kellex on Ding, but he still ends up dying. Super unfortunate, because they actually committed a lot of resources into killing him. If we could have peeled that, we probably could have won that fight.
Denmark is in an emergency point touch mode. We see Nerf won't let himself fall here. No,
But I could have probably went back. Nerf could have probably went back. Shax could have maybe went back as well.
His team has even a semblance of a chance here in this round, but things are looking grim. And
I know. Ding isn't aware that Shy's there. He just got one clipped. Shy just playmaking this fight. So we definitely could have played it better. China has a like super oppressive style when it comes to their tank play, which you probably also noticed in the playoffs of BlizzCon. Or Gusua and Late Young are just like they're just super in your face, super aggressive, really smart. But definitely we could have played that better. Okay. So now we go to Blizzard World. Funny thing about Blizzard World is that we, in practice in scrims, we never ever got to practice defending second or third. We literally full held every single team we played against on this map. And we did it with Summer Tracer. And it didn't matter if they played even goats or whatever. We actually were able to hold first point every single time. And against China, we end up losing it straight away for some reason. So let's figure that out. Let's talk about it.
China, of course, as we see them setting up, we do see them. It's hard to say what they're actually going to run here, but there's part of me that almost wants to believe.
So we're going to take a super aggressive style. We're going to engage on them before they even get to point, regardless of what they're playing. Because we have some more defense, we can pre-scout whatever they have, and therefore have more time and room to set up a plan that we think is good. So we recognize they have the same dribble tank composition they played on Gardens, on Lijiang, and now we have a better idea how to play against it. We basically just try to play more slow, be patient. We know they have to make the first move.
Just how it turns out here, of course, Denmark, they're running a little bit further back than the option time for defense, but we're going to wait and see where China's going. And take a look at Nerf. He's setting up for the ambush.
Nerf is setting up super close, gets caught out, has to jump with the point, misplaces jump a little bit, takes more damage than he probably needed to. But it's okay. Shax goes for an aggressive play on the backline probably. He was alone. And he gets punished. So now we're in a 5v6. This is going to be really hard to retake. Nerf gets picked off too. And now this fight is completely lost. So in practice, we never ever lost first point. On stage, we lose it instantly. But Shax just got caught out. Nerf got caught out. We probably could have played it maybe a little bit faster, even though we know what they're playing. So we're gonna make a swap to bring McCree here. The brig sightlines on this map is super good because there's the giant platform in the middle where the road the road kind of goes like this, and then this platform in the middle is like kind of line of sight for your brig, so you can play like anywhere here and not be in danger. So we make this swap to Big McCree, and Leave makes a super intelligent swap. He makes a super intelligent swap to Widow. Like this comp is super weak to Widow, probably always will be. The map is still okay for us, or okay for the brig at least, because of the platform in the middle.
This is a great answer here.
Now, I actually think, looking back, that Shy should have made a swap too. I don't think keeping this pulse bomb is going to benefit them at all. They won the fight super convincingly. They just saw us make 4 swaps. We swapped both the DPS and our supports. And this bomb isn't going to win them that like anything. He should have just went back to spawn and swapped to probably Hanzo right away. They already know they have an ult advantage because they won the first fight super convincingly. So I think he should just go back and swap to Hanzo here right away.
Really struggles at those extreme long ranges from second point. This siege tank high ground that you see here on Shai's screen is so crucial. If Leave is able to take that high ground in an uncontested fashion.
So we know we have an ult disadvantage, which means that we would like to take the first fight on the street phase as soon as possible. Even if we lose, if we win, great. But if we lose, it's still fine because we need to build ult somehow. So we're doing an aggressive push up top by the tank. Shax get picked off. It's fine. I get picked off. It's fine. Whatever. We basically knew this would happen. We knew they had an ult advantage. They end up using Nano. But we basically have to do an aggressive push because we have 0 ults.
tank high ground, I'm sure, is going to rain down fire as they China looks to close out the second point. Shax forced the swap over to the Widowmaker. There's essentially no other way to...
Shax makes a swap to Widow. It's really good. We have to like somehow contest this guy. We can't really do it with McCree. The Widow isn't necessarily that weak to Tracer here, so this is a perfectly fine swap.
Challenge these incredibly long sightlines on Blizzard World.
I stay on the brig because they still have Tracer. So Shax get the pick on Leave, which is super good. They have Mercy, so they can get the rest off. But like right here, the situation for us is okay because the car is so far forward that we can use the sightline here or this wall right here to to use cover, but still contest the car. So right now, all we have to do is sort of just play slow and make sure we have the optimal positioning. And if we do, maybe Shax can get a pick. Maybe we can force the tanks away. Maybe we can build our chance. Shy goes for the play but doesn't get it. Shax picks off Leave again. They go for a really aggressive dive on Shax. They know they have to deal with him. We get the insta peel off on him. He gets Brig E, he gets Pocket, instantly he gets Orb. And because they don't have a Doom or anything, we're pretty confident that any dive China makes, we can peel it off. And if we do it correctly, no one should die. Like Shax should not die, Ding shouldn't die, Kalik shouldn't die. And it's a lot on like Danny and me to like be super fast with our peel, but if we do it correctly, no one should die. And we realize that. Ding gets caught up by the bomb, probably not that optimal. He probably could have hit better, but we do have the Mercy, so we can get the rest off. Danny and I just contest car. Like Brig and Diva is super good at contesting car on this point. We just keep peeling our supports and our sniper. And finally Shy makes the swap over to the Hanzo. I think that's super intelligent. I was debating going back and swapping to a Genji here on my own, but we concluded that the sightlines are still pretty good for us. We can hide behind the big platform in the middle, so it isn't a big deal. We just need to make sure that we play disciplined. Shax wins the duel against Leave. We can easily protect Calyx here to get the res off. So Shax should pick off on Sky, which means we can go aggressive again. If we didn't get that pick, we probably would have backed off and just waited. Leave gets a super flank here. We realize our sniper is dead and their sniper is still roaming around, so we have to fall back. So we pop the rally just to get more protection on Ding and Calyx. Now, the reason why I still think this comp is good against this is because once you have the rally, this guy, like basically, no one on your team dies to a Widow headshot anymore. This guy doesn't die, this guy doesn't die, this guy doesn't die, this guy doesn't die. No one dies to a Widow headshot anymore.
Team here. Everyone has their ultimate. They're ready to enable him however he needs.
And everyone on the enemy team does. Shax picks up Shy. Gets Leave as well. Super play. Now we can push up aggressively. Nerf gets picked off, but we have res, so it's okay.
Denmark doing a better job protecting their core hit scan, and Shax is even forced to challenge this double sniper competition from Team China. So Fischer getting enough value on the Brigida, ensuring that Denmark is constantly winning.
But China's probably tunneling a little bit too hard on trying to win this single battle. Like, they're trying to win this battle, but in reality they don't have to. They have two super pokey, super long range heroes that can just poke down this guy and this guy. And that's probably what they should be focusing on.
Battle, which just denies all the space from China's double sniper composition. This side has to be huge for Leaf.
Yeah, you take a look at China, though. China is starting to get a bunch of resources here, but it feels like they're down to a one-fight mark.
Here we see Shax matching the walls. As I was discussing earlier, this is going to be a lack of...
Yeah, matching the walls is a super good thing on defense, as a general rule. You're not letting the attackers get any advantage whatsoever.
Meanwhile, Shax, just no one on him, going for the hook shot once more. He's been getting early pick after early pick. China yet to have an answer. They're going to be down to their final fight. Only a minute left remaining.
A major resource
And
there coming.
we did feel like that if we gave China this platform, but it felt more dangerous to us, so we do an aggressive hold and try to hold up here. They use a dragon to try to get us off, but they actually end up getting split in the process, and we can pick them off one by one. Shy makes a swap to the brig, and they're basically just gonna try to match us and meet our tanks up here top. But it's a late swap to brig, and we have the brig all advantage, so it's gonna be like almost impossible for them to make this push and win it. We pop the rally again, and now we can just push super aggressively. They use the trans, we back off. We get a little bit split, but it's okay. They don't have a Hanzo anymore, so giving up this high ground isn't actually a big deal. And we got the trans out, which is super important. Shax finds Sky, leaves us his flank again. Oh, we probably could have done a better job of holding this flank. Like, Danny could have probably sat here. Maybe Nerf could have been more aware, but we already know they did this once. We probably should have adapted at least a little bit.
Slipping in, taking down his counterpart on the Widowmaker. He has a major opportunity to get some more kills here.
Gusua goes for a deep dive, gets punished by Danny, has to jump away. Now, overtime is super important and really good for us. I'm already on the car here. They have to get to the car at all times. They have to have someone on car at all times, or they're going to lose. And this is where Brig really shines. So, this is super important for us. Now we basically just have to play slow, wait for them to do something. They have to make the move, they have to put someone on car, and probably have to deal with Ding or Shax in the backline. And doing both is super hard. Leave is doing his flank again. Misses the shot on Calyx, takes out Shax again. But basically, we're just selling Shax at that point, and we're just like pushing and pocketing me on the car. Yeah, like Jake says, there's too much presence on the car. You can just pocket your brig on the car, and she can never die.
Oh, Denmark, they get the hold, and this was well coordinated by Denmark, but more than anything else, you gotta give it up to Shax.
So we just understand the matchup. We probably understand it a little bit better than China did. And if we project Shax, we know he's gonna hit his shots. And that's why we can play this comp.
And that is sort of the power that we've seen of Shax all event long, where not only has he been able to be good on heroes like McCree, but certainly has Widow.
So, on our tech, we don't actually know what to expect from China. I don't think we could have scouted them playing this map beforehand. Maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I remember, we couldn't. We're going to start on our normal Tracer Sombra composition, where we're going to try to punish tanks. Now, once we see they have Orisa, we're probably going to make a swap.
These are both so dangerous to characters like Tracer, like Sombra, so squishy. They need to be able to slip in behind to get their game plan working.
One thing we know about China too is that, look, we saw it in previous series. Leave is a very, very good Junkrat, so Denmark is going to have to tread carefully, especially for Fischer, where Leave seemingly has a sixth sense for finding Sombras.
Certainly, Fischer's going to have to dodge the traps here. I wonder where it will be. But Denmark,
so this is where it's really important, like how our team is as a whole, where we see what they have. We know they have Orisa, we know the jungle, we know they have Widow. We know their comp is better than ours right now, but we're not afraid to swap, and that's what we're gonna do. We realize they have the better composition. we're not gonna even gonna fight here. We're just gonna go back to spawn and swap.
He's pretty good at finding, Chris as well as a turn crowd.
So I go to Genji. I'm pretty sure Shaq's gonna go Hammond. So even though Shax isn't like, or Hammond isn't his best hero at all, but this is what we believe to be the strongest composition that we could play right here.
So much unblockable damage, looking to just burst these tricky targets on the Orisa.
Oh, you see Shaxx moving
We
on.
go in for the slam.
Down. Good disruption, but Denmark not
We end up splitting Sky from the team and get a pick.
found Sky.
So far so good.
All the way around.
Nerf gets trapped, which isn't ideal, and gets picked off. They're starting to get pretty low. Shy shoots me in the head, which is unfortunate. Um, Shy just took out Ding too. So Shy played super well. When Nerf got trapped and I got a headshot, that was probably when the push was dead. We didn't have any finishing power there. So just super well played by China.
Another effective dive, but I'm guessing Sky is going to be a little bit more prepared this time.
Shy gonna pop the infosight here, trying to get a lot of key intelligence. More importantly, you look at Denmark, they don't want to push this.
Denmark's going to for sure wait out this infosight. There's no reason to challenge a Widowmaker when if you could just wait 10 seconds, the infosight will end. So right now,
we're gonna wait out the walls, just like any sensible team would. And then we're gonna go for the same simple dive where we're trying to split them off.
Pressure early on. Lee still holding on to the Riptire. So Denmark, while they're rotating, here comes the Riptire. All set.
They use the tire, then he tries to go for it. Unfortunately gets, I don't want to say punished because he's just doing what he has to do there. We go for a dive, they use Bongo. Now, this might look like the stupidest Dragon Blade you've ever seen in your life. And could I go back and take it back? Then I probably would. But we're down our monkey, we're down our mech, and our supports died. But they don't have a trance. The Zen died before I popped my blade. And that's the only thing that's like actually stopping me from like maybe like 1v5 clutching. So this blade on paper looks really fucking stupid. But because we know they lost his Zen, and we probably don't have another chance of like getting this off, like I just realized in the moment, or at least that's my process, that I had to go now.
Very risky commitment from Fischer, but potentially paying off here. What an insane Dragon Blade, but he's
So the fact that I survived here is a super, like, really important thing. Like, had they played a little bit better, they probably would have killed me. So, like, super risky blade. Probably wouldn't have done it if I could take it back. But in the moment, that's what I thought I had to do. Now, they're dying this guy's come back from fun, this guy's dead. So they only have Shy with 1 HP on point and Late Young. And now we just have to wait for reinforcements.
He's opened the door here. Respawns are gonna come in from Denmark. He got one more. Then he might think Shaxx somehow gets Shy.
Like CP says, I'm not sure how. Because he used mines a long time ago, I would assume.
Going to regroup here and try and recontest this point. They do have the opportunity, but the feed comes out from Denmark. Shaxx getting very aggressive.
See that in the back. Shaxx way far behind. China still wanting the delay, but Shy is
Now,
down, so is Ding.
we realize they still have trans, so instead of just letting them try to retake and set up like a point push that they want, we just go for an engage with our beat to try to trade. Like we don't want them to use this comfortably. We want them to use it like as a panic button. They're like, oh shit, they're coming in with beat. But their plan is probably to try to like do a really smart retake on point where they have this guy sitting where he wants, this guy doing what he wants. But we're basically denying them that by just YOLO engaging with our beat.
Always a threat when he's back in, but Denmark with such a huge advantage off the dive. All they gotta do is go fleet. Still the threat on the other side. He's able to get Kellogg. See Shaxx. Sudden disruption coming in. They might get the point here, and they do. Denmark powers.
Eventually we get the point.
Going to be some very late deaths for the side of Team China. Denmark going to be able whatever position they'd like to here on this second point, setting themselves up for a great fight. Leave looking like he wants to stay on that Junkrat, get value out of the Riptide before they swap. Junkrat Widow still very effective on this second point of Blizzard World.
We keep our composition knowing that we almost have a blade, and Ding has a nano. So we're gonna and we know they use trans already. So we're basically just gonna go into the next fight trying to build a blade and then go with nano blade and trying to snowball like Street's face.
Have that far to go. They would love to even this up 1-1 right now. The nano
Shanks probably should have swapped right here. He probably should have just gone Tracer right away. It actually ends up fucking me hard that he keeps playing Hammond here, because when we go for the nano blade, he's gonna get a boop of the guy that I'm going for, and then not gonna get the resets, not gonna get the blade I want, and it's gonna end up just being a feed. So they pop the tire. We wait out the tire. Obviously, if it gets like anything, we're probably not gonna like execute our plan. But we have a set plan in mind, which is to go for nano blade here. Use the tire, but it gets shut down. We just back off with our speed. Lost like 10 seconds maybe. That's okay. We go for the nano blade. Shax goes for the roll on this guy and pushing him away from me. And then, even though he dies, I end up doing no damage to him, which doesn't give me a reset. So now I have no dash. And now this is super awkward. I'm low already. So this is just, now it's just awkward. Like, we get the Junkrat, which is fine, but we didn't get it with me. And to snowball the fight, that's what you have to do. So we just end up getting nothing with the nano blade. Gusue pops ult. And they're just gonna clean up this fight. We basically just threw 2 ults away.
We'll see just what they do. Kellex will be on the Mercy, and we'll see if any other swaps come up here. Particularly, take a look at Jax. Is he gonna stay on the Hammond?
I'd really
go
expect
the Widow. Yeah, he goes Widow.
I'd really expect the Widow getting sucked.
Yeah, so we're gonna make a Widow Brig swap, just like we played on defense. We realized to have a Sombra Widow, and we think that if we have this character, if we have Brig over Sombra, our comp is better. Simply because of how we can control the map.
It's going to be up to Shy. He's going to need to turn things around and get that value on the defensive Widowmaker. In this case, though, he does have the Sombra to assist him. Shax is going to be pre-called. Every time he peeks an angle, Shy is certainly going to know about it, and Shax doesn't realize that he's been scouted in this way.
Shax go for a flank, gets hacked, but luckily gets away and into safety with us. Like, basically, our game plan is to try to take this platform high ground away from them with Brig. Like, we feel like we can win the tank battle if we get Shax set up at a high ground position. Then he's going to be comfortable there. But the card didn't move far enough. Like, again, you see like the strength of our peel on the minimap if I can get the pause. Shax is hacked. They have walls on him. Gusue and Lei Young are jumping him. Ends up taking a lot of damage, but he gets my Briggy, and Nerfed is already there to help him. So it's just the power of like the peel and us understanding like how to protect our boy. Nerfed unfortunately gets shot in the head by Shy, and now we have to probably reset here. Yeah.
Takes down Leave. Now it's Shy's turn to get aggressive on the siege tank, but this can be a risky position. You risk getting dove on here, so it's going to be up to Leave to scout those dives, let Shy know what's coming so that he can avoid it.
Well, there's 40 seconds left, which means that it's probably going to be the last fight regardless of what we do here. Even if we take a fight instantly, it's going to be the first fight. We're not going to get a good out of the fight, so we're just going to play this fight slow and try to play it optimally. We punish Gusue. They get the res off. We maybe could have avoided it with Danny, but Ding dodges the EMP. Super play by Ding. We had our rally going too, so Ding is now super healthy.
Descendants from Ding, keeping everybody alive, getting almost
And now it's basically what happened on defense, but now we're just on attack instead. Like, we have card control, we have our ults going, we have a lot of HP, and it's just super hard to ever get this control back.
value out of that EMP. Denmark potentially looking to close out this game. The Pavita so hard to evict from the card in these final seconds.
This is going to be super close. Lead, swap to emergency Doom Fist. We'll see if he can get back. Fushui desperately trying to delay right now. Super low.
Like, I'm basically just glued to the car, and I'm just gonna swing at whatever's there.
But on the card, the self-destruct, making room. Leave now.
They actually, like, Leave actually kills me here, which is a super big kill, but they just don't have enough reinforcements to back it up.
China making that extremely close though. On
And
that
we take
defense of
Blizzard World.
Denmark, you would have thought they had total control of this map, but China giving them absolutely no room for error. Denmark barely clinching Blizzard World. The series is tied 1-1 at the half. This is exactly how I expect things to be going. Very, very tight series.
No doubt about it. And again, if the
So,
storyline here is
1-1 now.
on the Junkrat here, so he's going to be filling into
We're feeling pretty confident because Anubis is one of our good 2 CPs, we feel like at least.
They really do value Shy's ability to play hit scan heroes here, I'd say.
Another factor to
Now, the way that we play Anubis is very simple. Like, we know a lot of teams play Orisa on defense. Even if they don't play Orisa, we basically have the same game plan every time. We're gonna play dive, we're gonna play Genji, and we're just gonna try to brute force getting the first point regardless of how many ults we have to use. Because on second, we're gonna swap the goats no matter what. That's what worked in practice for us. We tried a lot of stuff on second, didn't work. When we swapped the goats, we could basically cap second every single time. It might take a minute, it might take 2 minutes, but eventually we're gonna get second. So that's how we play Anubis.
about is that China has
It's probably what you're gonna see here too.
Widowmakers so far in the tournament. It feels like
Want to do this. It's going to be dinged.
Like, this is like the standard comp. Maybe not because Sky is playing Brig, but this is pretty standard from what we're seeing. The Orisa Junkrat Widow.
The Widow.
This is
Once
pretty
again,
standard
Denmark
defense.
seem to love versatility, but this is something that you rarely see. It has been seen before, but it's not often.
So our game plan is get Shaq's left side, get me right side. Once we have control of the flanks, if we can get control of the flanks, then we're gonna 3-2-1 dive. Basically, we know they're playing here. It's not that difficult. If someone contests either Shax or me, which I'm pretty sure Sky is going to contest Shax on the left, and Late Young is going to contest me on the right. But if they do, we're just going to signal that to our tanks, and they know they can go. We don't have to necessarily be ready, because they're pulling resources away from the Orisa, they're pulling resources away from the Junkrat, and our tanks can maybe do enough damage to the point where we can get a kill.
a really tough challenge for Ding. Fighting against an Orisa shield is a really tough challenge for even a really strong Widowmaker, and of course Ding probably not as
So right now we're just doing scouting, trying to find out where the traps are, so no one gets like cucked on the way in.
As you like to point out, he's the Achilles heel.
But at the same time, Team China's composition has such little aggressive potential. They're very
So I get in on the right side. Actually, Sky is holding it, but Shax is already behind them somewhere on the left. So I'm ready. Shax is ready. We go for a dive.
and hold them. So it's going to be very difficult to punish Kellex. It's kind of up to Shy to get that pick.
Denmark going to be moving on in, going to soul support. They need to protect Kellex here, and they get Sky early on. It is a lot.
So we pick up Sky, but we end up trading nerfed for it. Both teams have a mercy, so not actually entirely sure who this favors. It probably favors them to some degree, just because they have defender's advantage.
Pressure coming in from Denmark here, but they don't have the healing conks.
But we end up getting the res, and we actually end up picking the mercy as well. So now we're in a 5v4, but Danny has no mech, basically.
And now there's no one
Yeah,
on
Danny
the
lost his
field.
mech. Oh, sort of a 4-on-4. Just trades happening.
All China needs to do is get on that one support.
All healers off.
I get picked off too because
China losing both of theirs as well.
we're playing Ding Widow, which means that Kellex is our only healer, and he died. So now it's like super hard. We basically have no heals at all.
So Denmark potentially able to reset with the spawn advantage. Crystal not able to get the pills. That's
But
crucial movement.
like Jake just mentioned, like we have the spawner's advantage because we're on attack, and we traded pretty well. We got Sky, we got Veltal.
By Nerf, getting ahead of him.
Eventually, Crystal and Busua dies.
Junkrat. Now Denmark with a spawn advantage. I expect them to roll right through this first point.
That is some old school FPS gameplay there. When someone gets to the pickup just a little bit before you, it's definitely something that you feel a little bit bad about as Shax is able to get over to the point. And to your point, respawn advantage is same, but Crystal has a tire, could make a difference.
Tire is going to be tough to deal with, especially aided by the
Use the
side.
tire.
Oh, and Ding just
I actually like what Ding does here. He's basically just saying, he's basically just like gonna speed into the tire and be like, here, take me. I'm the sacrifice. That's basically what he's doing, and I think this is pretty smart actually. So he just sacrifices himself, takes out the tires, so our push doesn't necessarily die.
tanks the tire, but great movement by Ding actually, potentially limiting the damage that the Rip Tire could have caused.
Get down, Mr. President. Tire, please run me over. But I agree. I think it makes sense. Crystal,
But
though,
they're peeling for Shy really well.
But it's immediately res, but Crystal gets Fisher. No one is looking at Crystal right now. It's giving a lot of room. Shax, though, off the res, does pick off one. Denmark, very much threatening here on the point. But China deciding to make some room.
But
Self-destruct. Gonna force Denmark.
like I said earlier, we're not unhappy with the fact that like fights are scrappy on first, because eventually we're gonna basically swap our whole comp. So it doesn't matter that we use some ults here and there. We want to get the first point. Doesn't matter how many ults we have to eventually commit. So eventually we pop the blade, kill the brig. D.Va's really low, has to retreat.
Great pocketing with the Valkyrie.
Kellex just pocketing the world out of me.
But Denmark holding strong here on first point. China, though,
So eventually we take the fight. We used every single ult in the process, but it doesn't matter because we're gonna swap the goats. Like this, Danny is the only guy staying. Every other person is gonna swap. Shax Zarya, me Brig, Nerfed, Ryan, Kellex Lucio, and Ding Moira. So it doesn't matter that we use all these ults. And now we're gonna do the same rotation that we do every single time on Anubis. Gonna go left side. Gonna wait until our shield had regened if they spammed it, and then we're just gonna go on to point. Now China actually makes pretty intelligent swaps. If I remember correctly, I think they're gonna go Pharah. Shy plays like Pharah on this point isn't necessarily that great, but I still think it's a really good pick. Junkrat isn't necessarily that great either, because you can like basically anywhere he's playing where he can get damage off on this group, he will be in range of a beam, like Zarya beam or Moira beam or Danny. Like this is probably the best counter comp they could come up with, but because of how the point works, it's still kind of hard.
On this spam composition, looking to break Denmark down, whittle them with these explosives.
The problem is that Denmark already got past the first checkpoint. They were able to get through the gate.
Like I think if they play it correctly, if China plays this correctly, we shouldn't be able to win. But I think we're gonna get Shax pretty charged, and we're really good at protecting each other. From what we've seen as well on like Brig McCree comps or like Brig Weidel comps. Like, we're super confident in our appealing.
Nobody to stop him, nobody to get in his face. He's gonna discard whoever he wants here.
Danny's contesting the Junkrat Pharah, which is super good. Like basically Danny is like sacrificing himself to buy the rest of our group time. If he goes on the Pharah, if he goes on the Junkrat, then either of them has to shoot him. They can't just ignore that he's there. So he's basically just buying time for us. Have the tire, they only pick up Nerf though, so it's okay. Shax is 100 energy, Ding eventually gets his beam.
China running that much damage, but just not able to break the shields in time. As you said, Denmark getting through that first checkpoint and then maybe not able to touch again.
And now it's just really hard to retake.
But it's desperation, and oh, Denmark with just too much control for China to deal with. That triple tank swap, so deadly by Team Denmark. They know how to play this composition, and they're executing it to perfection. It's not as easy as it looks.
Not easy at all.
That's how we play Anubis every time.
I gotta say, again, we like talking about
it has worked every time in practice too, so that's why we do it.
Very interesting comp for Team China.
How long have I been doing this? For like an hour now? Okay. Maybe I'll cut it after this match, or this map right here. Okay, so on defense we're basically gonna do the same as China did, except like we don't play Brig instead of an Ana. We just play the most standard comp on defense ever. Orisa, Junk, Widow, And what we're gonna try to do is control the flanks. We know it's super devastating if the Genji gets in right or if the Tracer gets in left. So control the flanks and spam.
Back on out. A lot of time being lost from China and quite a bit of ultimate being fed.
Certainly Denmark building things up here. Shaxx halfway to his amper site. Now watching the choke.
So we pop Gooseray out with a mine, and Shaxx clicks his head,
And I like where Shaxx is standing.
and
He's
then
not going all the way far back.
that
He's
bought us
using
like
the shield.
20
It just seems smart.
to 40% on ult. So we're basically just being super annoying. So we realized they're going for a super aggressive dive. I put down a defensive mine, get a trap on someone. Like, it doesn't matter that Nerf dies here because we have a Mercy. Like, Shaxx dies, which is super important, and that's why the res eventually will go on him and not Nerfed. But the fact that Nerf plays as his ground and doesn't give it up, even for his life, is super good. Like, that's fine for us. As long as I don't die and as long as Shaxx don't die, we'll always have a chance of winning. Like, Nerf is basically just a giant boy standing in the way with so much health, and it takes so long to take him down. And if they commit to Nerfed, then he just has to trust that Shaxx or Shaxx or I will get a kill. I eventually get build a tire and kill Skye.
Still feel pretty good about this defense here so far.
Nice positioning from Fischer on that tire in such a difficult position to get to. No one's able to punish him while he's in that vulnerable state, though. The res does come up on Skye, bringing him back into the fight.
We're still lacking Nerfed, so we kind of have to take a more defensive approach, but he's going to be back soon.
Slipping into the flank has the opportunity to set up us around.
They got in there for free and even bigger. What's going to stop Crystal's Dragon Blade here?
That's really the question. It's going to be all on potentially Sting or Fischer to knock that Dragon Blade away or sleep it.
Well, we see China moving on in. Valkyrie in progress. They're going to be aggressive. They're just buying Crystal a little bit of time. 97%. He's taking a while. The Valkyrie is about to be gone, but now, oh, he's taken down. Fischer bursts down Crystal. No Dragon Blade to go with the Valkyrie. What a play coming in from Fischer.
The transcendence also coming out from Skye. I'm not sure what that's defending, but
So we're just trying to play as standards as we can. We're trying to trade like all advantage basically. Shy wins the duel, but and Kelix doesn't have the res, so it's actually important. But we use Bongo, Tire, and we just completely destroy Crystal.
Doesn't want the Mac, looking for something more. Maybe a switching support, maybe a Widowmaker. Great discipline. Fischer gets a much more valuable pick.
Justice for Shaxx, at least for half a second before he's res back up, but still, it delays China. They're throwing
But
back.
like these fights look super scrappy too. But as long as we're like denying the combos from him, like basically as long as we can deny the blade, then we should be good. Because we don't have a defensive ult, a blade can be super devastating. If we mitigate it to 1 kill or like 0 kills, that's obviously super good for us. They're gonna keep doing this this standard main dive. I think China maybe rushed a little bit after the first fight. They're not being as patient with the flanks. They're not waiting for their Genji. Maybe they realized that Danny was holding the flank really well and they couldn't do that. Got another tire. Probably a pretty bad tire, but I was really scared that we were going to lose. I'm not sure why. Maybe just miscommunication or like bad awareness from me. But now they have 15 seconds and they lost Crystal late. So it's going to be super hard, nearly impossible. Shy somehow finds Shaxx, which is super important for them, but we do get the rest off. And then this is just super scrappy, but like defender's advantage. We just have the better positioning. They're forced to make a move because of overtime. And we just get a first hold off. So super beautiful defense.
Every time somebody falls, either the res is there from Kelix or a counter pick comes up from Denmark. Great stabilization, Nerf staying alive through that entire defense. And as well, I think
okay, I know there are Maybe I'll do Rialto and just forget about the tiebreaker. Yeah, I'll do Rialto too. Okay. So we're up to one of the series. Now this is when the pressure actually hits us. We're already 3-0 in groups. We beat Spain, we beat Thailand, we beat Australia, and now we're so close to just like even winning this series against China, which we didn't expect, and go to BlizzCon. And we're just super fucking sad that we didn't make it. But the pressure is gonna hit us now. We're gonna not make optimal decisions, and I think this map is pretty evident of that. So let's see it.
But for now, we're living in the now. It's gonna be China coming out here on the defense, and
so we're attacking Rialto. Basically, our standard composition that we start on is double sniper. If we see something crazy like a close goat's hold, we're gonna swap. But if we see something that we consider pretty standard on defense, we're just gonna stick to our comp. Double sniper is generally super good for Rialto because of his long sightlines, and both Shax and I are really comfortable on those two heroes.
You know what? Denmark has some cause to celebrate. Just having a little bit of fun here. Listen to the map. There's a lot of there's a roadhog here. Denmark gonna favor the double sniper.
So they're playing a triple tank composition, which means they're gonna have more frontline pressure, but we have double sniper, which means that we just have more damage in general. Like our pick potential compared to theirs is way stronger. Our tanks are should be super afraid of their frontline because they have like the Reinhog Zarya. Basically, Nerf and Danny is like they're just gonna play for space. They're not gonna do anything. They're not gonna commit to anything here. They're just gonna play it smart and take the space for our snipers, and then eventually hope that our snipers does something.
With their dive tanks. Death pits. What has happened to water quality in the next 50 years, man? That's grim. Yeah, certainly looking rough. Overwatch fixtures in the future, maybe a bit dire here, but now it's all on Shy. He has to defend from both of these snipers.
Like, see, Nerf is just jumping from one high ground to another. He's not really doing anything other than just trying to control space. He's trying to be annoying. So Nerf playing it super well, Danny's just on a car, which is fine. They're going to play the close hold. Nerf is super annoying, sapping them from behind. They realize they can't stand here because of the damage from Hanzo and Widow. And eventually they're going to end up backing up. Whoa, what actually happens to him? I think he got like hundreds of zeroed. He's full HP. This arrow, okay, this kills him. He has 500 HP. What happens? Okay, so he's discorded. I think Shax headshot him. Right? Yeah, his ult charge goes up. He headshots him, and I hit the arrow. So Gusue just gets like 100 to 0'd. I'm not sure you can call that a misplay from his side. That's just like super unlucky. Now I go for a flank and gets a super play off. Now the reason I go for this flank is that we just picked up Gusue and they're gonna we know they have Mercy, so they're gonna use resources to try and get the res off on him. They're gonna stack up and protect their Mercy because she's now in the vulnerable position where she doesn't want to be. She probably wants to be with Shy or Skye in the backline. So we just know they went for the res. They're probably going to be stacked up here. I go for the flank. And end up picking the Zarya and Ana. And now it's just cleanup.
What an opening here from Denmark. Danny more than willing to avenge Fischer after that brutal opening coming in from Hanzo. China, they need to regroup and hurt fast. The res though being used on Fischer, and with Shy finding the pick on Ding, he's not going to be there. We've seen a lot of teams stall out.
Now I end up being res and I already have dragging. They're gonna end up swapping their Hog to Hanzo and their Rein Zarya to Monkey Diva. But they're keeping the same supports. So basically, this fight we should feel super comfortable. We have ult advantage, and they just made 3 swaps.
can drop it here in this fight. He built up so quickly. It's one of the best tools he could use to clear this up.
Now we're gonna try to use Dragon to deny car, but I don't actually like the way I did it here. Like this jump I'm making and the way I'm playing like so close. I don't like the way I use the Dragon here at all, and it ends up being eaten by Lei Young. So just poor play for me.
Dragon coming on out. It was eaten. Oh man, I wasn't trying to curse him, but Lei Young was on the job. The Dragon, it's gone. China was ready, and now Denmark lost their ace in the hole.
Denmark looking to
But
slow play this, but Shy falling, and so
I end up getting the pick on Shy. Shy's getting the pick on Crystal. Basically just an example of like your snipers working with the space that they're giving and getting kills.
Take a look back at Nerf. He's gonna be able to primal. He's just taking some damage. He's immediately gonna use it here.
And then it's just cleanup.
Out. It doesn't have to. China loses 4.
Late picks coming in for the side of Team China, maybe going to save.
And now we have super ult advantage.
Point, but Denmark already
We only end up using Trans and my Dragon early in the fight. Using one or two ults is fine to cap out a point like that.
Who knows where this payload's going to stop now?
Shy though has at least been turning things around.
And now like our game plan doesn't change. We're still gonna play it the same way. We're gonna try to make space for our snipers, using our tanks, using the high grounds, and then eventually hoping that either of us gets a kill. Now, this positioning I'm doing right now is super bad as well, and I'm gonna end up being punished.
On this map, although Shax with his emphasized advantage could be changing that.
Well,
Shy just hits a grapple shot, and Gusue punishes me. We're gonna get the res off on me, and Nerfed is gonna make a lot of space with this primal. Now, hopefully, I hope you get out, Nerfed. I swear to God, I hope you get out. Okay, good. And we get a good Dragon off. So, a lot of disruption from our main tank. We get a good res from Calyx. Shax hit some good shots. Still like super like textbook play. Even though I made a mistake. Shax gets a pick on Crystal, gets a pick on Shy. Super play. They end up using a Panic Diva Bomb because she's getting pressured so hard on Car.
But falls for his troubles. Now it's Gusue with the primal in the back line, looking to change things for Team China.
You look at Zen though, going back, going, you know, Fischer, I got your back. Lay some arrows into his beast. And Denmark still
and then Gusue is trying to deal with our snipers, but he also has to deal with the fact that there's no one on Car, and he can't do both at the same time. So, okay, this is super important. We have 4 minutes and 30 seconds to cap 1 point. This is all that's standing from us and probably going to BlizzCon. And we have 4 minutes and 30 seconds to do it. What the fuck did we do here? Okay, let's think. Okay, so right now, this is like the part of the map where the double sniper starts to lose its flair. These two heroes doesn't work anymore that well. I guess we're just thinking that we're rolling them so hard that we can keep going, but in reality, I would have liked to just swapped goats right now. Just get off. We don't have Trans, we don't have Monkey, we don't have any significant ults here that we should be scared of losing. Like this Dragon doesn't matter. What the fuck am I doing, dude? Oh, we have 4 minutes and 30 seconds to cap. I guess it's okay to like going for like the snowball push here. Yeah, this is okay.
They also have so much time left on the game right now.
Shax picks up Shy again. We get a pick advantage.
No one is dealing with him. He is unstoppable right now. China
like
does not have an answer.
these first 2 points were basically just like Nerf and Danny playing super well and creating space, and me and Shax playing super well and just getting picks. That's just we just won 2 points off of just great play. Like this was just like textbook beautiful. Fucking love it.
China finding nothing here, and now Shax with the imprecise, guaranteeing him an even bigger advantage in the Widow duel. Takes down Sky. At least Crystal firing back, picks up a quick 2K.
China, the rest of the team making up for it.
Now,
Under assault by Shax, Denmark.
this is where we should have just swapped. Okay, we played the snowball fight. It's okay, whatever. Like we tried. It didn't work out. Now we should just swap. Why don't we just swap? Why don't we swap, man? look at, like, they have, we should just realize that they have double sniper as well. And on that side of the map, it's just not as good. Fuck, man.
Space. Crystal looking for the Hanzo do heal. It's Hanzo v Hanzo. Crystal under fire. Fischer looking for it. Crystal takes it. Now going for the D-Mac.
Nice wall climb, getting a ton of damage on that diva. Now gets the D-Mac.
We should just swap. Just swap. Please swap. Tell me I'll swap. No. Why don't I swap? Why don't Shax? Why don't we swap, man?
A little bit of stability here for China. 3 minutes and 20 seconds left. That's so long to defend last.
Okay, I'm guessing we're just like we're just overconfident right now.
It's going to be up to Shax and Fischer to find more openers to get those tanks into the fight.
Like, we did so well on first and second, then I guess we just believe that third point doesn't matter, like the map architecture doesn't matter, but like it really does. Nerf goes for risky primal trying to create space, but we don't get anything in the meantime because the map just isn't good. Like all the space that Nerf created, it doesn't matter because like there's a wall here, there's a wall here. Like I'm not gonna get any value. Shaq's not gonna get any value. Shy just pops off. Even if we do somehow get value with these two heroes, like their spawn advantage is so much better. They have a mercy as well. Like even if we do end up getting a pick or two, it's just not devastating enough to where we can push this.
And here on this last point, he can really make use of his Reinhardt. With these tight chokes, it's much easier to play those sidelines. You're not as worried about Winston pressure coming in. Fischer not getting the frags he's looking for on the Hanzo. They're going to switch over to the Brigida, and it looks like Denmark making this classic swap back to the 3-3. In this case,
okay, so like, I mean, fuck. We basically wasted 2 minutes doing nothing. Like if we were to make the swap optimally, we wouldn't have wasted these 2 minutes. And it's like they have Grav Hanzo now. They're gonna end up probably winning the first fight, probably win the second fight. We're just gonna have to do something to build ult somehow. But like this is the swap we eventually should have made. Like we should have made it a lot earlier. We're gonna do the rotation left side. They have the combo.
Absolutely disgusting combo. That's why that combo is so effective.
Didn't have chance for it. Unfortunately, like 98, 99, super unfortunate.
So close to being able to answer that whole combo.
Like if we could have answered that combo, maybe this game would have looked differently. She's super unfortunate. And now we have to take that long walk again. But we have to do the same rotation. They have double sniper. We need to go somewhere where we are not going to get spammed. So we do the same rotation. We end up popping trans to fight off the nano Rhine. We get a good block. Danny gets a good bomb. So now we have control at least. Okay, we have control. So this is okay. We end up fighting the nano Rhine with a trans. We end up going for aggressive diva bomb play. I don't mind that. But we're only 25 on Grav. That's not good enough. We've been, I mean, the first fight he couldn't help it. We even get Gusue too. I'm just looking at the situation. I'm like, this is so good for us. But we're not close to Grav, so we probably can't end up like closing out the point. So we ended up swapping the goats at 2:30, right? That's when we swapped. So it's been 1.5 minutes. The first 1 minute the first like 45 seconds we use just dying to a Grav Dragon. It's fine, happens. But this other 45 seconds, what the fuck did Nerf do here? He's so low. He's naded. Oh no, man! Like what Nerfed? What are you doing, bro? Oh, he's just running up and trying to fire strike. He's so low. Shax gets picked off as well. We actually have control here. We should have just chilled. Just chill here, and maybe it's just okay. That's so unfortunate.
These snipers producing absolutely everything on the flank.
What a turnabout here for Denmark. It was all
We're
about
just misplaying.
for the first 2 points, but now we go to China. China goes, you know what? That's a really good idea. They have turned the tables here on Denmark.
Ding gonna make the swap over to the Moira, more of the classic 3-3 composition, able to play that fast, aggressive
We had to
style
pick the
that
more,
team wants to play. Shy though with that imprecise
like, I understand why Ding didn't do it right away because he was so close to trans, but it also just ended up like being not optimal because we didn't have to we didn't have to transfer this fight. We eventually used it for this fight here, which was it ended up being good, but this fight like wasted so much time for us. It would have happened either way, but
make things a little bit more difficult. Oh, and instantly picks up Shax, somehow finding
Shax
that,
gets picked off.
that Zarya, even without the damage boost.
This nice headshot coming on in. Although
Now we have 30 seconds. We get to pick on Gusue. We get a fat shatter,
But he slept.
but Ding gets headshot by an arrow.
Oh man, the sleep dart saving Denmark.
Oh, this is just so messy. Shax goes to Hammond to come back fast. I don't mind that. That's fine. We end up chasing the sniper. That's good.
What an absolute
We have control.
Now China coming up on that
We have every single hero, right?
dragon combo. This could take down everybody
Yeah,
if
but
it's big
they have Grab Dragon. It's only Nerf that gets caught in it, but it doesn't matter. Just one pick is enough for them to start rolling. It's like 2 CP at this point. If they get one pick, it's like it's over. Oh man, this is so devastating to watch. Yeah, just
Great turnaround there on that last point by Team China.
That was just
themselves in
bad.
This game. Hero and Rialto, but
Just
Denmark
bad.
still setting a very impressive progress meter. They could very much make a first hold, make a
We
second
own
hold,
so hard
but
on the first and
just holding
second, and
China
then we have 4
closer
minutes and
than,
30
they were
seconds.
able
But
to themselves.
Take a look at here. It's beautiful. You'll love to see it happen. It's a well-fed dragon and certainly well set up.
And man, you just see Game on that.
oh, that's so devastating.
Him to take the right angles to spam China without getting
It was
caught
we
off
just
himself.
played bad.
That's going to be a tough test. Hero and Rialto, he's
All
gonna
right, moving on. So on defense, what we do at this point. I think most of the time we're playing dive tanks, but in this situation we end up picking Orisa. We probably scouted that they had double sniper. I want to say that's why we have it. We still play Pharah and the Widow. Like this roof right here is pretty good for Pharah. It's not super easy to get picked off here, so we're still confident in the Pharah. I want to say we're on Orisa because we probably scouted that they played double sniper.
Shax immediately shuts him down.
Well, that is a tone setter for
But,
sure. Denmark's
Like our game plan doesn't necessarily like change either here. Like we're looking to buy as much time as possible for Shax and I to do things.
saying, you know what? We're still pretty good at the sniper thing. Crystal gonna be looking for an opportunity on the flank. Is Hanzo Bifar not the easiest setup, but can be a threat? Shy is brought back into the fray. So China keeping the payload moving. Denmark going for a bit of a reposition.
Denmark needs to hold this corner. If they expose Fischer to that Widow side line, things could turn quickly. Fischer respecting the Widow, going to go back around the next.
Yeah, I'm just using the line of sight in the walls to try to like I wanna respect the Widow as much as possible basically. Like I don't want to get picked off in a stupid situation here. Crystal goes for the same flank, but our setup is a lot better than theirs because we didn't have to go for a risky res. Like I think our setup right here is pretty good. We almost have barrage, we almost have walls. Bought enough time, gets Gusue.
Nice stuff coming in here. Shax again looking for the pickoffs, and it's a barrage over the top. Fischer picks his
Go for an aggressive barrage.
A rare thing for Afara after letting it rain.
And I don't die. Yeah, I'd say this is a successful fight.
Very risky at this level of play, but the amount of damage output is certainly worth it if
Like,
you're going to be able to take down your opponent.
We're not expecting the first hold here. We just want to get as much time off the clock as possible. So going for that aggressive barrage, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. They use the dragon to try to get more control over the car. Ding gets picked off, I get picked off, and now we just crumble.
Who do they value more? But Sky takes down another. There's not enough resurrections to go around here.
They bring up Ding, but China getting so much more.
We get 2 minutes off the clock. Not the end of the world. We still have our chance. Oh, okay. It's a great shot by Shy.
China might have just broken the blockade of point A. We'll see how it works out.
Oh my god, and another one coming in from Team China. These snipers Sniper just destroying the side of Team Denmark, finding absolutely
Why did we go
every
Rhine?
A takes look absolutely easy here. China with about the same pace that Denmark was on. Now it's up to
Why am
them
I
to
on
prove
Genji if we're
it's gonna
playing
stay
Rhine?
fast.
Or
That
why
was
is...
the most painless
Okay, so we're...
point A
Yeah.
take I think we've seen in this
I think the
tournament.
call is to swap to just full dive here. They have double sniper, and we have all disadvantage, so we need to try to do something. Okay, so I end up going up to Sombra. We're going back to our like comfort picks of playing Sombra Tracer. That's okay. Probably not the most optimal comp, but I don't mind it.
Looking towards the pressure here in the Hanzo, getting real close to another dragon, biding
I-
his time. China not doing things
I think if we went full dive, probably would have been better. Like there isn't like there isn't a good hack target here. Like hacking the Rhine sure is good, but it's hard. Like he has his own shield, he can just block a hack. This hack isn't particularly good. This hack isn't like there's no good hacks. I like me playing Genji here is probably better.
crazy here, just getting payload progress, and they're looking for that
But
grab dragon.
it's okay.
The graviton is up. Here comes the dragon. How well will this dragon be fed? And oh,
They use Grab Dragon, but we have Trans. We only end up trading nerfed. I'm not even sure how he died. Then he gets poked out of mech. Still scrappy fight. Trades going on.
Ends up getting FISCHER, so this is very tight. Jaxo, pulse bomb, looking for it. Does not connect.
Unfortunately, it's just
Is going
not
real
scrappy
well
in
at
our
this point.
favor.
Both supports on China dropping very low, but just not able to connect the damage. Our Team Denmark and now China with full stack on the card, full steam ahead. They're looking to roll through this.
Yeah, I don't think our comp is good here. And this swap by thing is just bad. Like this is just like it's just like nerves and pressure and all this. Like he's probably feeling like like Shai's just clicking his head when he swings in, but in reality, like this pick doesn't help us at all. This is not a good choice. Yeah, so he goes back. Okay, okay, never mind. Sorry, I flamed you, Ding.
Shai was able to get Kellex Denmark getting staggered by Widows just like they did around before. The power of Widow could not be better here on this map. Right now is Shai. Punishes the baby D.
No, it's just
And
like
more importantly, look at
scrappy fight again, not in our favor. They peel the Widow really well. It's like it's so hard. Oh man, this is just not fun to watch from like a player perspective.
But now you have so much to stay in for the side of Team China. These are three of the strongest
Yeah.
healers in Overwatch. So China hopefully looking to
We
flip
know
the
that the
second,
third point
and take things to a map 5.
is pretty good for goats, so we end up swapping Shax to Zarya and nerf to Ryan. That's all fine.
Denmark will see if they can take a few hints from China on holding, because if they don't,
We go for an aggressive EMP.
EMP coming out here from Denmark. They're trying to
Gusto is like 1 HP, but he doesn't die. Okay, he'd end up dying.
Denmark, though, it's not
But it's just
what they're looking for. Gusto
it's just
does
not
end
a
up
favorable trade for us at this point. Like we use EMP and sure we get this guy down, but they have res. We need more from that EMP,
but Denmark is overcommitted.
but we just don't have anything. We don't have any ults. We don't have enough damage. Shax probably wasn't. I probably could have played it more patient too. We need to get charged on Shax before we go in with this EMP, or it's just not gonna do enough.
Guy though with a quick 2 headshots somehow finds the Moira and the Ryan.
Yeah, I should have been more patient.
Shai is absolutely coming alive on this Widowmaker.
Shai doing some big work. FISCHER down. Not going to be building an EMP that way. The pressure from the Widow unrelenting as Shai continues to strike.
We can see why Team China elects to keep Shai in against Denmark, fearing that sniper of Shax. They know that they need Shai to challenge him, and now that's absolutely what he's doing. Gushui with the shatter, with the aid of the Infrasight. Perfect setup here.
Rally here for China. The Graviton in reserve. Everything going their way. They drop the grab. And Denmark.
Yeah, they just have ult advantage. Grab, shatter, rally, walls, nano. We actually we protect ourselves pretty well against like the first round of ults. But it's just
Pin back the other way, but now so many healers all up for Team
It's just
China.
not enough.
He's still in the fight. Bash is nerfed down. And now there's so much pressure on the card for Team China.
feels bad, man.
That's so much to deal with. The Valkyrie damage boosting absolutely everybody. China.
Yeah, this map we just pressure and nerves probably got to us, and we just made bad decisions, like all around. We had such a dominating like first and second attack that we got overconfident.
China too strong, melting Claire after Claire. China, they want them at 5. They're feeling it. They grab, they shatter, they move to the point. We're going to map 5.
Yeah, we're going to map 5 in the tiebreaker. Okay. Okay. I think I'll end it there. I've already been going for like more time than I probably wanted to. I just wanted this to be like, man, a 1 hour thing, because I'm a little lazy. But uh, I hope that this gave some insight to some of our choices, some of our like team philosophies, I guess. Um, if I'll leave with anything, it was that this experience was like super fun. It was the best tournament. Like the World Cup is always so much fun, and I hope, Blizzard, that you will host another one. And if anything else, uh, let's do something real quick. Let's circle this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. They are now all in Overwatch League along with their sub Leave. Or I don't want to say that. I want to say they are reportedly in OWL, and only one guy is on this team. So I guess I'll leave it at that. I think that's a pretty good ending. So thanks for watching. I actually had more fun than I thought doing this. I hope you enjoy it.